T.I.'s son, King. King Harris has been arrested after not appearing in court and some other things connected to his actions.
Coddle him for. Let the man walk out, have some time to himself, sit down, soak it up, and come up with what he needs.
Can't even believe what kind of storm King Harris, T's son, walked straight into. One moment he was living like nothing in this world could touch him, and the next, his whole life flipped upside down. King always acted like being born into fame made him untouchable. He thought danger was something that only happened to people without a big name behind them. But reality hit him harder than he ever expected. And it came fast. What started off looking like just another spoiled celebrity kid getting into minor trouble exploded into something way darker. This wasn't about a headline or a small mistake anymore. This became about staying alive. King had built an entire persona around being tough. On Instagram he flashed cash, waved guns, and laughed at anyone who dared to call him soft. He swore he was built for the streets. But the moment those jail doors closed behind him, everything he pretended to be got tested for real. Inside that cold cell, all the cameras and followers disappeared. There were no crowds cheering him on, only men who had lived through violence their whole lives. The confidence he showed online? Gone immediately. The guys locked in with him didn't care about his father being a hip-hop legend. They didn't care about music or fame.
You are embarrassing yourself. You are embarrassing yourself. You are embarrassing yourself. What is you telling me?
What you can do now? Shit you can do.
Some mamas, his ass going to prison. If you goddamn keep that up, his ass going to prison.
Was a wealthy, privileged kid trying to imitate a life he didn't understand. And in jail, that kind of act can cost you everything. Word spread fast. In minutes, everyone knew T's son had arrived. Suddenly, King wasn't just another inmate. He was a trophy. Some wanted clout, others wanted revenge on the world T.I. came from, but most just wanted to prove that fame didn't mean protection on their turf. Jail has its own rules. Respect isn't earned by followers or money, only by survival. And King was in a place where he had none of the tools he needed to survive. What made things worse was King's mouth. He still joked around like he was performing for an audience. He clowned older inmates, thinking they'd laugh like his viewers online. But these were men with scars, losses, and anger built from years of struggle. They didn't think he was funny. They thought he needed to learn a lesson. A painful one. That's when things started getting truly dangerous. Sources say he caught the attention of the wrong group, guys who weren't looking for a fight just to scare him off. They wanted to silence him permanently.
Oh, these here are interesting, but I can't judge how the parenting is gone, because everything that we've seen has been stuff that many of us would have said or similar if we saw our children do this. But I will say this. A lot of what's happening is because it's in the public. Like most children don't have to do this in the public.
That's the moment King finally understood he wasn't in control anymore, and fear took over. His bravado cracked. He wasn't acting like a tough guy anymore. He was just a terrified kid who realized he might not make it out. And when fear finally broke him down, do you know what he did? The same thing every kid does when the world feels too big. He called his dad. T.I., the same father he had recently mocked and ignored, suddenly became the only person he could beg for help. His voice wasn't loud or cocky, it was shaking. T.I. had warned him again and again that pretending to be a gangster comes with real consequences. Now T.I. had to deal with the nightmare he always tried to keep his son away from. Behind the scenes, T.I. went into full crisis mode. Lawyers were activated. Phone calls were made. People from both the legal world and the streets were contacted. Because when your child is truly in danger, you move mountains. While King waited, every hour behind those bars felt like a countdown. No expensive home, no flashy cars, no fans, just fear and a bunch of men watching him, waiting for the right moment. He learned the hard way that fame doesn't equal power everywhere. In some places, it only paints a bigger target on your back. He thought he understood the street life from music videos and Instagram lives. But in that jail, he wasn't T's son. He wasn't King Harris the influencer. He was just another inexperienced kid surrounded by predators. And in that moment, he finally realized, pretending to be something you're not can lead you into a place where your name can't save you, and the only thing left to protect you is fear. King Harris thought his father's fame could carry him anywhere. He believed that being T's son gave him status no one would dare challenge. But once those jail doors slammed shut, he learned the truth instantly. In there, the only thing that counts is the reputation you build with your own hands. King had spent so much time acting like he belonged to the streets, but once he was surrounded by real danger, reality hit him like a punch. Gone were the fancy cars, the designer fits, and the attention of social media. His new world was crowded cells, cold concrete, and people who lived by a code he had never understood. Every decision now was a matter of survival. Making it out alive became his only focus. T.I. had warned him countless times that the street life isn't a joke. He told King that once you're in that world, your name can't save you. But like most stubborn kids, King brushed it off. He thought he already knew the rules. He was wrong. As time passed, the tension around him got thicker. Whisper after whisper spread through the block. T's son was here. And that kind of news doesn't just float around without consequences. It didn't take long before King realized the threats weren't just talk. These men weren't bluffing. They didn't care who he was. They didn't care about fame. They wanted to prove a point. Suddenly, the fame he used to brag about became his biggest weakness. King's usual loud attitude only made things worse. He tried to maintain that same cockiness he displayed online, cracking jokes, boasting, and acting like nothing scared him. But inside those walls, that behavior isn't entertaining. It's disrespect. And in jail, disrespect can get you destroyed. The older inmates, the ones who had spent decades behind bars, weren't impressed by a teenager pretending to be tough. They didn't want to hear about his music connections or how rich his family was. They lived by their own rules. If someone acted bigger than the next man, they got dealt with. No exceptions. Every day, King could feel eyes watching him, sizing him up, deciding what to do with him. In there, he wasn't a celebrity's son. He was a symbol. Hurting him meant instant respect. Taking him down would send a message far beyond those bars. And that's when the fear finally punched through his ego. The confidence disappeared. The jokes stopped. And in that dark moment, King did something he swore he'd never have to do. He picked up the phone and called his father. The same father he had mocked. The same man he ignored when warned about the dangers of pretending to be a gangster. His voice was shaking. Gone was the tough guy act. For the first time in a long time, he sounded like a scared kid. He begged T.I. for help, desperate to escape a nightmare he created himself. T.I. didn't go online begging for sympathy. He didn't shout to the world that his son was in danger. Instead, he got to work. Quietly. Strategically. He started calling people, lawyers, contacts, street allies, anyone who could help keep his son breathing. Because T.I. understood what King never did. Jail isn't a playground. People don't just get hurt there. They disappear. T.I. had fought his whole life to escape that environment, yet now he was being pulled right back in to save his own child. He wasn't just trying to get King out, he was trying to keep him alive long enough to walk out. King finally realized that pretending to live a dangerous lifestyle comes with real consequences. And when the fantasy ends, all that's left is the reality you're stuck with. No fame. No money. No fans. Just survival. The boy who once bragged about being fearless was now learning the hardest lesson of his life. In the real world of violence and prison politics, nobody cares who you are. If you can't defend yourself, your name becomes your downfall. King Harris walked into jail with pride, and found out the hard way that pride doesn't protect you. Respect does. And respect isn't something you buy. It's something you fight for. Now the whole world watches, waiting to see what happens next. Will King learn from this? Or will he fall deeper into the darkness he once thought he could handle? T.I. wasn't about to let his son face a nightmare alone. He had lived that life before, and now he was doing everything possible to pull King out before the streets claimed him too. This situation wasn't just about one bad decision anymore, it was about protecting King's future and stopping a painful cycle from repeating itself. T.I. spent years fighting his way out of a world full of traps and violence. He had seen too many young men get swallowed by it. But watching his own child slip down that same path, that was a different kind of hurt. T.I. had warned King countless times about where this reckless behavior would lead. But King, like many young men blinded by ego, ignored every warning, thinking he already had life figured out. Inside jail, King's reality shifted fast. The threats whispered around the block were no longer just talk, they were dangerous promises. The inmates weren't trying to humiliate him or teach him a small lesson. They were planning to make him a statement. A message. Someone like King, privileged, loud, and unprepared, was the perfect target to show that fame means nothing in their world. As T.I. listened to his son panic, he felt the weight of everything he had fought so hard to leave behind. King wasn't just risking his own life, he was dragging the family legacy right into the fire. T.I. knew better than anyone. Jail isn't a place where your life simply gets tougher, it's a place where your future can end forever. This story isn't only about King messing up. It's about a father trying to break a generational curse. T.I. had clawed his way into success so his children wouldn't have to experience that life. But now he was staring at the same pattern repeating with terrifying accuracy. King was walking the exact same road T.I. once chose, and barely survived. T.I. refused to let his son become another tragic name added to the streets. He wasn't fighting just to get King released, he was fighting for change. Fighting to make sure this became the turning point in King's life, not the ending. And now the world watches to see what King will do next. Will he take this second chance and rise above the chaos he tried to imitate? Or will he fall deeper into the darkness that nearly destroyed his father? The Harris legacy stands at a crossroads. King has been given a wake-up call most people never get. Now it's up to him to decide whether his story becomes one of redemption or another heartbreaking cautionary tale. Only time will tell what path King chooses. If you want more real stories and shocking celebrity news like this, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss an update.